There it is.
There it is. Welcome to Films in Black and White, everybody. How are you all feeling? It is a great Labor Day Monday to be with y'all. And so we're super excited. You will notice that we are sans Brian for a moment. He's going to hop in when he wants to.
He just messaged the chat 25% and cruising.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so like, here's the thing. We got a message in the chat right before this pod was supposed to start that essentially said, hey, my computer forced me to do an update. And so you all should just start. And so we decided okay, well, we'll wait a bit. And we finally started. And so we got to talk about I don't know, Bill Gates or whoever's over there running Microsoft. If you just
right to Bill Gates.
Can you just make sure my computer will consent with me before it just says hey, what are you doing right now? Anything important? Yeah, I don't care about any of that shit. You have to do an update right now.
No consent, no Vaseline, no nothing. You just decide to you just take it when you want to. And I feel like that is a problem in itself.
It's abusive.
At least I can ignore the Apple computer and be update later, or it'll do it in the middle of the night. It'll be do you just want to do it while you're asleep and not on your computer? I'm hell yeah, do that shit while I'm asleep. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, do that when my phone's plugged in, when my watch is plugged in. You go right ahead.
When my eyes are closed, do whatever you want. Pump my head full of all the 5G, take my data, manipulate my algorithm. Do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. Update my cookies, whatever it is. But, we need to get these PCs to at least ask.
Yeah.
So we're going to do some intros, just Marcus and I for a moment. And then we're going to talk a little bit about Black Beetle. And then we're also going to talk about latest strike updates. Oh, Blue Beetle. Black Beetle. Okay, well, all right, here we are. Black Beetle is Marcus's Chiron for this episode of the pod. And I read that, but thought about Blue Beetle. That's just where we're at. So this really is no better time. Marcus, a.k.a. Black Beetle, how you feeling?
I was just really invested to see how you were going to dig your way out of that for the people that aren't watching.
I did my best.
I think it was good. I think you did really good. That's impressive.
It was a pivot. It was
a strong pivot, too. I am here. We ready to pod. It's been a long day. Been a nice 4-day weekend. And you know what happens on a short week? You got to squeeze everything into it. So I'm ready for Tuesday. Cause I know that's going to be a bunch of bullshit. But I'm ready to go. I'm ready. I'm happy to be here. Happy to pod. Happy to be with my guy. And then guys, whenever Brian decides to pod.
Yep.
Yeah, but how are you feeling, Doug Redneck Aquarium Wagner?
I am doing quite well. Y'all, I had a great weekend. It was great. Labor Day weekends are always nice. You get that extra day. It does feel like everybody this year more than years past. I feel like maybe just because of the heat, people are ready to get done with summer, say goodbye to summer. And it was y'all, it's 100 degrees outside. I don't think we're not just gonna say goodbye to summer. This just isn't going anywhere.
No. The one thing I need is for winter to just be as hot when it gets here.
No, that's bad news. We don't want to do that. That's the earth. The earth doesn't need that.
I do. Because I hate the winters here. So I don't give a fuck. Selfishly. I just hope it's not as snowy and as bullshitty as it's been with how hot it's been. That just makes sense in my head, right? If it's been so hot, your winter shouldn't be as harsh.
Well, I mean, it's extremes, right? So we've got extreme heat. That usually means extreme cold. And so that's just kind of where we're at. And here he is.
Wow.
I'm here.
Brian.
I'm here.
Brian Roush, aka the Last Ronin. How you feeling, sir?
I'm feeling better now. My computer gave me a talking to. It wasn't even like, hey, you need to restart your computer. It was like, this is happening in 15 minutes and you need to get your order, like your affairs in order. And I was like, okay, great, cool. My computer hasn't been on all day, so I guess these guys are gonna just start talking about movies without me. So I'm here and I'm excited to be here.
Well, that's outstanding. Brian, how was your long weekend, sir?
Oh man, it's been great. I've been like blissfully zenned out because my sister-in-law took my two oldest kids. So we just had the 1-year-old, which feels like vacation.
It does feel weird,
children.
Doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's wild. It's just like, okay, like whatever you want to do, kiddo. You want to put this thing on your head and laugh at it? Great, cool. That's it. That's all I got to do, and then I'll feed you. I guess. I don't know. So it was really good. Yeah, and Maggie and I actually got to like sit down and have like a nice steak dinner that she made on our grill. It was delicious. It was fantastic. I read a book like in a week. It was great. It was the whole thing was wonderful.
Actually, really fun.
I love that. That sounds outstanding. I was talking to it sounds weird, Brian. We were talking to another parent at the park about this today. Of like, it's like, what did I do? How did I do this? Like where?
Right.
Like I have all this time. Like when you lose one to like a commitment and they're off doing something, you're like, what do I do with myself now? Like I don't even know what to do.
What do I do with my hands? Like I don't know what to do with my hands. I just what do I do? No, it's a great problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
As a single man, I'm more concerned that I feel like I need to expedite the process of me having children.
Don't do that. It's a mistake. Don't do that.
No.
Literally 4 of my good friends are all having children.
You're kidding.
Like the people closest to me.
Oh,
so like,
wow.
actually, I don't know if I can say one of these things out loud because it's not revealed. But Jarrell has kids.
Yep.
There's another close friend of mine having kids. Doug, Brian. So it's, it's about that time, it seems like.
You know what you need to do? You just need to lean into being that fun uncle.
I'm
That's it.
fine with
That's
that.
it. You know what?
Yeah.
That's all
The
you gotta
Blunko,
be.
The fun black uncle.
That's
The fun
right.
Blunko.
That's right. That's perfect.
Yeah, don't feel pressure to have kids
Don't
because
do that.
like it should be a decision from like this is a good idea, not like, oh man, everybody else is doing this. You don't need that.
Everybody's
You don't need that.
tell that to my mother, who's the one that's giving me hell about it. So
Well,
she used to say, "Wrap it up, practice safe sex. I don't want you bringing in no babies." Now every time she asks me, it's like, "When am I having a baby?" And now I'm like, "Well, damn, what the fuck happened?"
that is quite the pivot. That is quite the pivot.
This is a shift in time of like, hurry up, get somebody pregnant. Like somebody. What the fuck?
Somebody, don't you think I should know this person?
Yeah, what the
Nope,
hell?
not needed. That's wild. I do want to explain my Chiron just for a minute because
Redneck aquarium.
yes. So I went to a water park this weekend,
Oh boy.
and I went to a water
Tell
park.
us about it, Doug.
Okay,
How was that for you?
I'm not gonna name it because here's what
Great
I'll say.
idea.
She's
Great
gonna know
idea.
the area. People are gonna know.
There's only one that's in 100-mile radius. like you gotta like. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, we're not gonna get a sponsorship from them. All right.
No, Brian. I don't think they have the budget to do a sponsorship.
All right.
Oh, why do you say
All right,
that?
that was
Turn the
mid.
whole
That was
city
a
against us. All right.
cheap. That was a cheap shot. I'm just flabbergasted. Like, look, I have been to both ends of the spectrum of aquariums of water parks. Though,
Sure.
like, really great, like super professional, like the Wisconsin Dells level, like water parks, right? Like where it is,
Yeah.
they're a spectacle. Like they are
It's
like
what they
this is-
do.
It's
Yeah.
what they do. And then I've been to others where it's like, ooh, that attraction just doesn't work. Why? We don't know. It just stopped working. Everything is faded. Like it looks like it's just been like, hey, that was originally red.
Right.
It's pink now. Well, aren't
Yeah.
you gonna paint it? Who has the time?
Yeah, it's
Like
pink.
it's just
Yeah.
that's the color. And I'm just kind of Brian,
Yeah.
I went to a place that wanted to be for everybody. And
no.
I can't urge
Inclusive.
it just makes me great, yeah, but like also here's the thing that like threw me off. When I go to a water park, I think, okay,
Sure.
this is a space for families.
Okay.
That's me pushing my agenda in my current life situation. On
Brian, would you agree with that statement as a father of children?
I mean, is it like, okay, if I hear of a water park, I'm assuming I can bring my family. Yes.
Yes, it's got, and here's the other thing: it's got miniature golf. It has go-karts. It's all included. Like, so like that's a spot for multiple age ranges of kids.
Yes. Yes.
This place had a lazy river.
Okay.
Great. On board Labor Day weekend. It was very hot. On
what
board.
could possibly go wrong?
Okay.
You built a swim up bar attachment to the lazy river. Yeah, what? Brian, see? Like, and so you're cruising around the lazy river, and then you just kind of go off into this little alcove where you could just pick up a beer and then like be on your way.
I guess to me that made sense.
Well,
I mean, okay.
South Dakota, it makes sense, but as a parent, I was like, so what's the ask here? Like, I bring my 8-year-old and I go like, have fun on the lazy river. I'm gonna be putting a few back at 11:30 in the morning. Like that's the other thing I didn't understand, and maybe it's because I'm not as much of a drinker as I used to be. But I literally was
as
like,
Brian,
I was like,
Brian grabs a beer.
Brian,
maybe I'm not as much as a drinker as
Brian.
Fuck those drinkers.
It's 8:30 at night. It's reasonable for you to have a beer. It was noon, Brian. It's noon at a water park.
I mean, you're judging people.
I am, but also like
you're judging.
Okay. Was there like an age gate? Was it like no one beyond 21?
No,
area?
You could just go in there.
Wow. You're asking for a lawsuit. You're asking for a lawsuit right there.
Yeah.
And also,
imagine a 5-year-old in a trench coat at the water park.
And you're not keeping your ID in your swim trunks.
Yeah. No, they're
like,
not carding anybody. They're like, you look close. You look close enough. Like that is
look. I'm gonna be honest, Doug. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna have a real moment on this podcast. If I took my kids to a water park and it's hot, and I like put in the effort and energy to get them there, I would have a beer at
noon. That's what I was thinking.
I'd have a beer.
Yeah,
I would.
But like not like while you're watching Liam go around the lazy. That's the thing I didn't understand.
I can multitask.
Here's the thing. I would love to do that, but I know my kids, and like at some point, someone's gonna just tug on my arm and it's like, well, there goes my $8 beer in the lazy river. I can't drink that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sometimes it's not a matter of if I could. It's the I can do it, right? But it's the planning ahead of what happens if I do it and it goes left. Like, what if I do buy this beer, it's going to go to waste because something's going to happen. It's not necessarily the fact that I shouldn't. It's the planning ahead.
Yeah. And everybody's just got their tits out. Like, that's the other thing that I didn't understand. It's like it was like, y'all, this is a place for families, and you chose the smallest type of swimwear that you could possibly find on the face of this earth.
Freedom. This is a free country.
You know what? As long as they're covered up, like as long as they meet the expectations, you're all set.
This is the freest state in the country.
I mean, I'm glad it's. But how did I describe it to you yesterday? I felt like I felt like that. I felt like this specific like water park was like when someone says "Make America Great Again," they're talking about that water park. They're like, I want the days where it just opened and like you could smoke a cigarette wherever.
Well,
and like if David wanted to have a beer and then ride the go-karts, no one even fucking looked at him. Nobody cared. Like it was just.
You know what's funny about those moments? I feel like some of that shit wasn't really happening the way that they claim it was. Like, I used to be able to walk down the street with an AK-47 and a beer in my hand and nothing happened. Like,
something should have happened.
Something should have happened. You may have just did it once and got away with it.
Yeah. I need to tag along to this story because the Six Flags by me for like as long as I have lived here. I've lived in the Chicago area now for the better part of 10 years, and oh wow, it's 15. Okay. I'm having a moment. I've lived in the Chicago area now for 15 years, and the Six Flags here up until like 2-3 years ago, it was always referred to as like, it's like discount Disney, okay? Like, you know what you're getting there, what kind of people watching you're having. And look, all I'm gonna say is like every stereotype you have about amusement parks happened at this Six Flags. You had the overly romance couple in front of you, just like hardcore making out, and you're like, okay, I just want to ride Superman.
Handy's on the roller coaster for no reason.
I mean, I don't know. I never saw that, but I mean, you know, you got.
Hey, wait, hold on, Brian. It's always a handy with you. I figured it out.
Hand stuff.
It's always
because it would be pretty brazen to be like, hey, I know we're in line for the Batman ride, but
terrible hand job. On a roller coaster, you're gonna rip something.
You don't
off.
want that.
That is
Brian Marcus, let gravity work for you.
That is disgusting, and that would hurt like hell. You chugged the wrong thing, and that shit is gone forever.
That is
that shit
hard.
Just ended up in somebody's cocktail.
You. No, thank you, please.
No pun intended on the cocktail.
Anyway, they don't do that anymore. They said they don't want quote Walmart people. They want Target people. I'm not making this up. This was in like a publication where one of the leadership of Six Flags was like, "We're gonna retool everything because we want more of the Target people instead of the Walmart."
I hear the racial undertones in there.
Jeez, that seems really racist to me.
Just
I know what the fuck that means.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wow, I can't believe you said that, and you still have a job.
This isn't
that seems
white
pretty brutal
enough.
I mean, like I couldn't believe it. Like
That's pretty clever.
We'll link that in the podcast description.
People always got a new fun way to call some shit like racist or classist. You know what I mean? And
oh my gosh! Yeah. As soon as you whip out Target, you're like, okay, all right, I see where this is going now. Okay, I'm gonna go over here now with the dive bar at the Lazy River. I'm gonna go over there now.
I mean, live your life, man. I mean, it was a trip. It was a trip. I should have taken pictures. It was wild.
Yeah.
No, I want to go back. Brian had a moment there where he realized he was in two things. I want to just hit two things real quick. First of all, everybody knows I have a medical marijuana card.
Yes, you do.
This is I do. I am legal in the state of South Dakota. This is for my anxiety and other things that pains in my bodies. Now that I got that out of the way, listen. Don't take your medicine and go Amazon shopping. Okay. I was on,
what'd you buy, buddy?
Look at this dumbass shit I bought. All marshmallow Lucky Charms.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
It's a 4-ounce bag of all.
So it's
all
it's just the marshmallows.
If I open this bag, it's all marshmallows.
Wow.
Wow. This is the
Jesus Christ.
Ever.
Okay. Wow. I mean, how is it?
Hey, I don't want to tell you that you're a stereotype for the munchies.
Yo, it is the stupidest shit. It came to my door because I forgot I ordered it. And I was like, what the fuck is this? It's a 4-ounce bag of all marshmallows.
Wow. I mean, if it's good to you, that's what matters to me.
Yeah, I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum, but that's
a surprise to be sure.
It's a 4-ounce bag of all marshmallows, and I'm eating and enjoying the fuck out of it too.
Now, Marcus, is the bag on the front? Does it say like "Oops, all marshmallows"?
No, it just.
Oh, so it's like no. This was a choice.
Limited edition Lucky Charms, just magical marshmallows.
Man.
Not a sponsor. I just wanted to say, I
don't want to eat those in cereal by themselves. Yes, in cereal, absolutely not.
I mean,
no, that would be terrible. They would only last like 2 seconds.
I mean, I'm glad they're good, but I feel like after like 2 handfuls, I'd be like,
I'm done. I'm done. My teeth started like shattering,
just disintegrating before your eyes.
I was like, why would it? A 4-ounce bag? Like, give it to me in a snack pack. But The other thing is, I was on Facebook the other day, and Facebook kind of gave me that oh shit moment that Brian had about being in Chicago for 15 years.
Yeah.
I was on Facebook scrolling. You know how it puts up the memories and stuff like that, right? So I'm going through scrolling my memories, and a post pops up from my dad. And it does that whole, you have a post shared with, you have a memory with Lamont Sellers. Yeah. So I look at it just because I like to look back and see what the fuck I was talking about. I used to think I was Billy Badass playing football in high school, Facebook posting about all of my, I don't know who the hell I thought I was, but it wasn't him. So, so I go to the post and it says 10 years ago. 10 years ago.
Oh.
It says,
yeah,
my son Marcus has, called and said he made the traveling team for football. He's having a good time. He dropped him off at camp. Class is starting like a week. Blase, blase, blah. And I said, 10 what ago?
Mm-hmm.
10. Yo,
Yeah.
time is a weird construct. That is such a strange thing to me. I don't really have any other comment except it's wild as fuck.
The linear passage of time kicks my ass on a regular basis, and I feel you, because you're just like, what? That was the same amount of time that's passed every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I literally was like, I played football. That was like my freshman year. So I had to stop playing football my sophomore year. So I was like, damn, that's like 11 and a half years ago.
Yeah. Now you fuckers know. Like, that's why you keep your Christmas out of my goddamn holidays. Because otherwise you're like, oh man, it's been a month that I've been living in this apartment. That's the same amount of time till Thanksgiving starts. Like that.
How did we get here? How did you spend that?
It was just how I work.
What? Let's move on. Let's keep going.
No. This is. I'm bringing this fact up again when we get to that season. I am like, it is in the filing cabinet.
What is the fact?
You were like, okay, the passage of time. Like, oh man, 10 years.
Yeah.
It goes by so fast. That's why I'm always like, I don't want to wish time away. Like, let's just be in the moment. Because otherwise you wake up and you're like, oh, fuck, it's been 10 years.
Okay, yes.
I agree.
Yes, I agree with you.
I agree.
I saw like a politician, I saw my opportunity to get up on my soapbox and be like, that's why we got to change that policy. Yeah. That was my moment.
That was a real Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter type of moment right there. That was like
I mean, let's hopefully not, but yeah. I'd like to think it was more Black lives than all lives, but I get it.
You know what? That's why we have good communication here. We can talk through all this stuff.
But also now looking back on it, that was more all lives than Black lives. Now that I'm reflecting on it,
I just you just started whipping out holidays, and I was like, did I
thought out? You know what the right wing equivalent is? And they don't let us say Merry Christmas anymore. That was the same thing. That was the exact same energy.
I went to the zoo and they called me a monkey and the N-word the other day. Yeah, and they won't let us say Merry Christmas. They put X out of Xmas. I was like, what? No, that's not 1A, 1B. That's not the same at all.
You're just not. You know what? You don't think it's 1A and 1B because you're not listening to the same radio station.
Oh my god!
You want to take the Christ out of Christmas? No,
I just,
just want to tell my story.
You know who you got to talk to for that when you get there. Like, it is what it is.
I mean, it's like the Karens that are like, they don't have Christmas on the Starbucks cups anymore, and our society is disintegrating. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I get it. You're right.
Wow.
That's why,
okay.
Yeah,
yes, we should enjoy our time together because we probably
we should.
Don't have as much as we think we do. I totally agree.
Yo, what is this podcast? We are 23 minutes in, and it's just pure destruction, doomsday.
Brian's over here.
I was trying to add
Brian's
on.
over here, like Brian's like the night is dark and it's full of terrors. Am I right, guys? Like, we could go at any minute.
We've gone from Quantum Leap's dumbass marshmallow purposes, and like, we haven't even gotten to the real.
I know Marcus set us up for such a good time, and then I end with that. What am I doing?
Yeah. Anyway, Doomsday is coming. Get your life together. Oh shit!
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Right.
Jesus. Okay. Well, here's what we got. We don't have a quote this week because we just.
It's okay.
We don't.
That's okay.
So, which is fine. That's totally fine.
Okay.
So we're just gonna kind of get right into the news. And one of the things I wanted to bring up, because I thought this was an interesting discussion that kind of happened in our chat sort of organically, is the latest from SAG-AFTRA that's an interesting breakdown.
Wrong button.
They recently have put video game makers on notice, saying that this talent could then be authorized to now voice actors as well. And
Yep.
then all of that work would then sort of be looped in and be considered struck work as well, which is problematic given the overall yes, Chris, we are on a different level. It's problematic because of the money that's not, one, it's interesting, and two, that's another way in which that you might be able to put the screws to some of this as well, because not many people know this, but the video game industry is actually one of the largest industries around, like in terms of the money it makes. So according to Insider, video games, I gotta find this particular piece. They said that the video game industry revenues are on track to exceed both sports and film combined in the money that it made.
Film?
Yeah.
They said the intelligence firm IDC estimates that video game industry revenues reach $179.7 billion for the year, and this was in 2020.
Yes.
So, and granted, there's a pandemic in there, but also, goddamn,
there's a pandemic in there.
I mean, just like just Fortnite alone, they make like $5 billion a year.
Yeah.
Just Fortnite. Yeah, like that's from like The Verge too. That was like back in 2021. Like it's wild.
Yeah, very, very much so.
So
go ahead.
Before you go, what is our games? Are we talking just consoles as far as video games, or does anything on phones count as video games?
Phones count as well.
My assumption is phones do.
According to, because I have an article of like games that made the most money that was released in, this is an article from 2023, so it was actually from like about 2 weeks ago, and it sort of provided a overview of the amount of money that some video games have made. So like Grand Theft Auto 5 that came out in 2013 made $7.7 billion.
And that game is still going. It is still going.
Yep. And for perspective, and this was very well written, the perspective, James Cameron's Avatar made $2.8 billion.
Right.
So it made literally almost 3 times that amount.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Okay, I don't want to keep giggling behind the scenes, but we have people that want us to play video games live.
Oh God.
Twitch.
Oh Lord.
Chris Shelton, Roman Meyer said, goes to show you guys need to play some games live on the pod. I think Brian would be great at that.
I mean,
Twitch streaming on behalf of Films in Black and White. I am like on board. I'm on board for that.
I feel like the 3 of us could take an episode and either do something simple, like I don't know if we would do Fortnite or like Among Us, but we could do something like that.
Yeah.
I do feel like our energies would all synergize.
That would be pretty fire, actually.
Yeah.
But Marcus, to your question, Candy Crush Saga made $930 million between August of 2017 and July 2018. That's just 1 year.
I thought people stopped playing that.
No, because all the grandmas still play it.
I mean, I guess so.
Well, and me every once in a while.
What?
Yeah,
I'm surprised.
It's
I'm
mindless.
Surprised. It is, but you gotta you only have so many lives, and like
right.
the minute that happened, I was like, absolutely not.
They're not getting any money from me. Like it's once I run out of lives, I'm like, well, on to the next thing. Like
it is so easy to spend money on those kind of games. That's why I kind of asked that question before. Was like, it's very easy to spend money on the phone games.
Oh my gosh,
very, very easy.
You can justify it so easily because you're just like, I mean, it's like a cup of coffee. Okay, $5. Like Marvel Snap. I still play that every day. By the way, like it has a grip on me, and the way it gets money out of me in the most unexpected ways is like, okay, yeah, I'll just $10, whatever. Yeah. It's $10, whatever, and then it's like, oh,
the Marvel
spent a lot of money.
The Marvel. God, what was the other game that it was like? You get to pick your team. of something.
was it
Strike
Strike,
Force?
Strike Alliance or
It was Strike
Force?
Alliance. Yeah, it was something like that where it was like you could you had to go through the whole storyline, but you could unlock more characters if you paid the. It was so easy to spend fucking money up. It's ridiculous.
And Marvel Snap, so Roman in the chat is saying they'll charge $75 for a deal. And this is true. Like Marvel Snap knows there's big money people that play. They're like, hey, you want this like thing that only exists on your phone? Pay $75. And I guess some people do. It's wild.
It is wild.
Apparently it's working.
Some other highlights from the video games that have made a lot of money. Minecraft has made to date $367 million to date.
I still don't understand that damn game. I don't get it.
Y'all, Harrison, I need y'all to understand that like to 6-year-olds, Minecraft is like they all know about it. And I don't know how the fuck they know about it, but it's like they walk into the school and somebody's like, "Hey, there's a game that's kind of like Legos, but like you're walking around in it." And they're like, "Stop. Where can I find it?" Like it's just
Anywhere.
Immediately like, "Hey, guess what? Everywhere. Ask your parents about it." Like,
you got a phone?
Yeah. Cuz I came out one morning, Harrison was watching something on his tablet.
Yeah.
And I was like, I check in every once in a while because I'm a good parent. I try to check in.
Good job.
What are you consuming? And he is literally watching a YouTube video of people playing Minecraft. And I was like, "Do you know what this is?" He's like, "Oh yeah, it's Minecraft. They're building cool shit." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool, man." Like,
my little sister Mia has never been able to explain to me why she likes playing Minecraft. Every time I ask her why, I tell her to her face, "This game is boring and I don't know why you like it." And she says, "Because I do." I said, "What makes it so damn good?" "I don't know. I just like it."
I don't know.
I don't understand.
It's the appeal of you can just you like if you start your own server, like your own world, you can build whatever you want. And, you can make it from scratch. So for people that like The Sims, it's kind of in that same vein. That's like the best way I've explained it. And for some people that get super into it and they're like, "I'm gonna recreate the Empire State Building," and they love and it's all there and there's no mess and you just log off and you're done.
They do have it for the Switch, and so I bought it so Harrison and I could play together. So that way,
that's cool.
That way he has a chance to learn how to do it a little bit.
Look at you.
I kind of get it. Here's how I'm going to explain why I think it's appealing.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you're one of those, you have to check some very specific boxes. Okay. Are you the type of person that really enjoys an open world RPG type game? Do you like the Elder Scrolls Skyrim?
Yeah.
No.
Great. Do you also like Legos and building shit? If you check both of those boxes, then it will be something that you can sit and do for hours, because it's literally like, great, break that tree down. Great, now you have enough wood to build yourself a house. Great, now you have enough stone to build yourself a patio for that house. And so like that's how it works, but you can kind of like get down, like dig around and explore caves and find shit. So like it's that's the appeal. Okay. That's the appeal. And that does check both boxes for me. So I was like, okay, I could support him.
Just play Lego Star Wars or any Lego game.
100%.
I feel like
those are great.
I could do that. Like
that's great. Yep. That I could do.
No, it's you got to have like, okay, I'm going to build something. You got to have that attitude. But like for me, I don't always have that attitude at 8 p.m. on a Tuesday night. Like, no, I want to get on the roller coaster. Let's go. Show me where to go.
Yep. Pokemon Go is another phone-only game.
Yeah.
Pokemon Go, has made $1.2 billion in 2017 and $1.3 billion in 2018. It is the fastest mobile game to reach $300 million in revenue.
I mean, everybody was playing that game summer of 2016. Like,
they also included this interesting statistic that they said that it has also caused 250 deaths and 150,000 traffic accidents.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Wow,
because people would block
people
places.
not looking up.
Yep, not looking up. What are some other ones that are here that are interesting? Brian, you mentioned Fortnite.
Oh my gosh.
It made Fortnite, when it was released on the iOS version, made $2 million per day.
I could live off of that
per day. Madden football.
My guy Darnell Pitts is waiting for Mario Odyssey.
I mean,
that one might not make it, Darnell. That one might not make it on here.
I can look it up
hold
real
on.
quick.
Mario made $12 million in sales. Mario, and so recently, Nintendo Switch editions, Super Mario Odyssey and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold over 20 million units combined. So do the math. 20 million units at $60 a pop.
As of May, I'm seeing it at 23.93 million from Game Informer. So
now we understand
that's a lot.
A little bit of the landscape here.
Yeah.
Because now we're starting to be like, like if they're gonna start to put some feet to the fire with the strike and including video games in that struck work, it sort of changes it. Like this is a big industry that if actors couldn't participate in this, you might start to see the pressure. I mean, you'd start to see those delays. It's anytime you're doing, I mean, video games are essentially software, and there's a whole business of like minimizing delays via project management when you're doing software releases. So to put now hey, you had a big video game, people bought a PS5 just for your game, and now it's delayed because of a strike. Yuck. Like there are going to be some consequences on that end. So I wanted to introduce this to the chat as a way in which for us to talk.
Well, and the voice actors, I don't feel like it's going to impact, if they do go on strike, I don't think it's going to impact anything that happens before the end of the calendar year. Like everything is mostly in the can, unless you're the people that made Cyberpunk 2077. But like CD Projekt Red.
There's some on the cutting room floor, and we don't know where the cutting room floor is.
Oh my gosh, that could be a whole podcast. Anyway, like that stuff should be safe. This is really looking at like 24, and like I want to say that some people might be like, well, they're just voice actors. Like, how much could that delay video games? And let me tell you something. I've played a lot of video games. I used to review video games.
He did.
Some of the voice work that gets into video games already, like it's already not the best sometimes. So the idea that even if you wanted to move a project forward with not like scabs would be horrifying. So hopefully they get this resolved, but like any of the voice actor stuff in video games could be affected if they go on strike, but hopefully it doesn't get that far.
And the source of the ire is once again AI. The union is seeking protective language. This is a quote from the Hollywood Reporter. The union is seeking protective language in the contract that will require informed consent and appropriate payment for the creation and use of digital replicas and for AI systems with the members' performances. Additionally, SAG-AFTRA is seeking the same wage increases for video game performance as it is those for working under the film and television contracts. 11% retroactive expiration and 4% increases in the second and third years of the agreement. So if you're someone like I don't remember the gentleman's name who does the God of War voice acting, he would be included in that. So, so like, it's interesting how this is all working. And
when is the rest of us going to unionize? Because now I feel like the rest of us need to start rebelling, because I'm not really sure. All the entertainment industry is rebelling, and obviously we'll talk about it more with Blue Beetle, but you can kind of tell that shit's kicking y'all ass. I see, like we see it. Yeah, there's a difference in these movies and how they feel when ain't no promo going into them.
100%.
Now I feel like I'm just going to go stream a fucking movie from my house at a theater, because now I don't feel no excitement about it. I don't know shit about it.
Christopher Judge is the actor that played Kratos in God of War. Also Teal'c from Stargate, which I love.
That is also true.
Christopher Judge, I know you're listening. I love your work. Oh man. Oh my gosh.
I love Star Trek and Stargate.
Part of my childhood.
Dead poor. Free TV. With UPN. RIP to UPN.
I miss UPN. Yeah. I like how we all had a moment for UPN.
Rest in peace.
For some homies.
I mean, this also feels like Fran Drescher, like totally seriously being like, if you don't negotiate with us soon, it's gonna get worse. Look me in the eyes and get this done. That's what it feels like.
She is definitely. She saw that they were pissed off and was like, "Oh, let me collect this Infinity Stone too, so y'all can really see we're gonna corner the fucking market. Oh, she is
Yeah,
she's on her
Hey.
shit.
Yeah,
she's like, who's you nanny now, bitch? Like, get this, like, fucking work this shit out. Like, y'all laughed, y'all made fun of me. There were jokes. There have been jokes up and down this bitch, and now you're wondering what's gonna happen.
Who's
I can
your
tell you what's gonna
nanny
happen.
now?
Yeah,
I mean, she's not playing around. So it's-
absolutely not.
Yeah.
There was one other statistic from this, like, the strike stuff that I wanted to say is that Aaron Paul, he's from Breaking Bad. He recently came out and said that he has not seen any money from Breaking Bad stuff in Netflix.
That's no way. There's no way in hell.
No, I believe it.
There's no way in hell.
Because when they made Breaking Bad, they didn't have a contract for streaming. So all AMC had to do was say, we're going to sell this to license so that let me rephrase this. I want to get this right. We're going to sell the license of streaming it to Netflix. And then Netflix just bought the license. They didn't buy anything else. So the only residuals Aaron Paul would get in this example would be from like reruns on AMC or any other network.
They are cheating the
system,
boy.
Yes.
And Marcus, to back this up, from the Huffington Post, this is an article from the Huffington Post. Aaron Paul said to Entertainment Tonight Canada that he was standing in the picket line in front of Sony Pictures, and he said, I don't get a piece from Netflix on Breaking Bad, if we're being totally honest, and that's insane to me. Shows live forever on these streamers, and it goes through waves. I think a lot of these streamers, they know what they've been getting away with, not paying people a fair wage, and now it's time to pony up.
God damn.
Yeah.
End quote.
And we did have a comment seeing what was the last offer. We talked about it a little bit on the episode prior for the WGA, and it sounds like it's closer. It sounds like it's closer to what everybody wants, but not close enough. Some of the AI stuff is in there. They're trying to we talked a little bit about how there's some language in there guaranteeing writers, but it's not yet good enough. And specifically like streaming writers. And I think this goes to what Aaron Paul says too, of like, if it doesn't explicitly say streaming, the studio doesn't need to pay those people, which is not, in my opinion, I feel like that's wrong, like ethically wrong. Someone worked on it and you're using it to stream and you're not paying that person.
And not even that, and the other part of it is like, you're also using it as a reason why people should sign up for your streaming service.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, here's because like if you're like, oh, we also have Breaking Bad, thanks, like we did. But the fact of the matter is you're positioning yourself in your advertising of saying like, ooh, come to Netflix because we have Wednesday, come to Netflix because we have Stranger Things, and then there's no accountability or transparency in any way, shape, or form, like for what they have to pay people. That's what makes it, to me, so much worse. Is it's like, it's one thing to say, okay, you made money off of a streaming service because you have this piece of content, great. It's worse when you position yourself and say like, no, and that's the reason why you, consumer, need to come here because we have it.
Right.
So yeah, it's just, that seems,
you know what I say, fuck them all.
that sounds right.
I don't need TV that damn bad. I'd rather pay, because if you pay them the right way and it shows that it works, that this system, that unionizing works, right? That coming together collectively and sharing your stories and experiences work out loud. Guess who's next? The question I had, I tweeted it yesterday. I don't know if I should have. I was knowing my job was watching. But I was like, I wonder if higher ed will ever unionize, or if education would ever unionize.
Some states have.
Yeah, it has to, because
it's a matter of time.
There was an attempt in Illinois, I feel like, that student affairs professionals tried to unionize.
And I think my ex at the time, I think that she was telling me a story about they were getting ready to unionize. I think they were amping up.
So there was a movement at Northwestern for like the graduate assistants to unionize, and I believe their football team made an attempt to unionize, and like a lot of the institutions will slow roll it. or like they'll try to shut it down. But like I actually just read a piece today and I can't remember where. I want to say it's the New York Times, but I can't remember for sure. But basically the attitudes of unions over the past 5 years, like it has overwhelming like majority approval from like Gen Z and millennials, like above 50-60%. And I feel like seeing this, one of the benefits of the WGA and SAG strikes is you get to see the benefit of like, no, like they're all collectively doing this and they're all in solidarity and they're selecting who their mouthpieces are at certain times, because don't make any mistakes. Like this is very well orchestrated. There's a reason Adam Driver was literally the only actor at this at the film festival last week, and he's the one saying like, hey, if this small studio can meet the SAG demands for a waiver so I can be here, surely giant corporations like Netflix can. And I just think it's funny that all of the big executives are like, why are we being seen as the villains? And it's like,
Adam Driver don't like talking to nobody. He don't even like watching himself on screen.
Right.
So to hear him actually speak up is like incredible. I saw a tweet that said, I think I said this last week, but it's funny as hell, so I'm gonna say it again. Somebody said David Zaslav going to super hell.
I mean, imagine being David Zaslav and you not only messed up HBO, but you messed up the contract negotiations. Maybe you didn't mess it up as bad as Bob Iger, but you still messed it up. And then on top of it, you're talking to Taylor Swift and she's like, hey, I have this movie and I broke Ticketmaster. Do you want to help me distribute it for a fee? And they're like, your fee is too high, Taylor Swift. And they walk away, and now Taylor Swift gets 67% of all money that goes towards that. Like, how bad a business do you have to be? David Zaslav has no idea what he's doing.
They're gonna see the box office come back and they're gonna be like, fuck. Like, it's just like in their house, he'll be sitting on the shitter, like looking at CNN, and then like a little bubble, it'll be like, Taylor Swift's Eras tour makes $20 billion in box office. He's gonna be like, God damn it! And you know his wife is gonna be like, is everything okay in there? He's like, yeah, I'm fine. Like it's just
he gonna pop a blood vessel while you're on the toilet. He gonna,
Did you take your fiber this morning? That's not it. Like,
leave me alone. It's Swift. It's Taylor.
David, do you need to go to the rage room? No, I need Taylor Swift's movie to be distributed by HBO.
Delete all the Taylor Swift music off of my iPod right now.
I want to say,
what are you listening to? A fucking iPod,
right? Yeah. This is Zune. I will say. Here's what I'm gonna say about the higher ed strike, the higher ed stuff.
Do it.
I would 100% support a strike.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's possible.
Think that there are some things that make it a little bit more complex.
For sure.
And I think it's because the way in which student loans operate.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like, sure.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like student loans operate that once you stop taking classes, that's when you have to start repaying. And the only reason why I know that is because like when I did my AmeriCorps program, I was eligible to put myself in economic hardship forbearance, which means I could take a year and say, I'm not going to pay you for a year. I might try, but I'm not going to pay you for a year while I work this shit out. And so what I would worry is like that would put such a screeching halt to things that would take place on campuses if institutions had their professionals do that there would be a lot of students that might be pushed in. Now it's fixable. The government could step in and support that, but that depends on what type of president you have. Like there's just a be like, oh fuck, I don't want to hurt learners. You know what I mean? Like I 100% in support of a strike. I just don't want to. Is this another all lives matter thing? Did I put my foot in my mouth?
No,
again?
I was no. You did great. I was just thinking of when you say you don't want to stop the learners. I'm in full agreement. Just you know me, I love the kids, but across my mind it was like fuck them kids. I was like, we need to fix the system. The kids gonna have to wait. But no, I am 100%. I absolutely understand where you're coming from, and I agree wholeheartedly.
Well, and I think for education, there's a lot happening. Like if you're just talking about faculty, if you're just talking about staff,
yeah,
because there's other units that have unionized, and there is also like so many institutions are funded by federal grants that like some institutions, that's it, that's the money. Like that's all they can do. Now there's other institutions that have tens of millions of dollars in endowments
looking at
that
you,
this
Harvard.
could probably work on.
Yeah.
But I do feel like withholding labor is sometimes like the only message that some people understand because you know.
Fucking Harvard. I
can hear him in the background while I'm listening to Brian. He said, fucking Harvard. And he was like, I don't know why I came so hard at Harvard. And then followed up with, fuck you, Harvard. I was like, wait, what?
Not getting sponsorships by Harvard.
Nope,
okay?
no.
I also learned something. This is the last anecdote on strike stuff, and then we can pivot into anything else.
Let's do
anything else.
I learned that airline strikes are not as likely because of the way in which they're funded. Like, so if you learn nothing else from this podcast, if they start talking about an airline strike, apparently those are the least likely strikes to happen.
Yes.
Because there's so much federal funding wrapped up in how airlines are funded. A federal negotiator has to be present, and they take it until like no, this guy called the other guy a son of a bitch. This isn't going to get worked out. Like they started fist fighting at the table. It's not it. And then even in that case, the government could just be like, no, you're not allowed to strike. There's 2 minutes to this wrapped up. They can literally tell like flight attendants, you're not allowed to strike. Sorry.
Oh, for some of our younger listeners, because I feel like this is kind of in the buried past, Google the Reagan air traffic controller strike and enjoy that Wikipedia article because you want to get nuts. It gets nuts there. It's unreal how some of that stuff went down. So anyway, strikes are good.
Strikes. Let's get back to movie land. Marcus, what do you guys got?
Well, I ain't got shit. I just want to talk about. I just want to. Let me get into a bag real quick. I just want to shout out CU Boulder. Football.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Way to
shout
go,
out
Buffs.
Coach Deion Sanders. Shout out Shador Sanders. Shout out everybody on that goddamn team. That was a great game. And I'm gonna bring this to a question I just had for the chat. Not really a question, just a comment.
All right.
This was my first time watching a full game of college football in a while. Usually I would like hop on Twitter or hop on X and catch the highlights or watch ESPN in the morning, then I'll catch the highlights.
Yeah.
Right? I love football, play football majority of my life. It gets boring sometimes for me, especially if your team is not
third quarters.
Yeah, it's a stretch there. But it was the first time I watched like a college football game in a long time. And the commercials are so goddamn cringy, man.
So bad.
They are so and it's clear as day. Deion Sanders just had a day where he just had to do like a stretch of 3 different. He had a commercial for pistachio or like almonds, and so it was like I don't know. I just don't remember them being so cringy. Like football, it's almost like they're on purpose, not like accidentally like trying to take itself serious, but it's like it's a football commercial. Yes, enjoy the shit.
My pet theory about that is that whoever's looking at demographics and like who's watching football, like they don't take into account that like a lot of younger folks watch it on streaming. Like some people just don't watch it on TV. So all the data they get, they're like, oh, it's all people 50 and up watching this stuff. So that's how we'll make these commercials. And it's like, no, they just don't watch on a TV. They watch it on their computer or their phone or like whatever, and so they make all these commercials totally geared towards boomers, which is fine, but like that's my pet theory is like that's why all these commercials are like that.
Well, I mean that makes sense. They just haven't caught up. Like I was watching on YouTube TV, so that's where I streamed the game, and then like I was gonna go through the ESPN app, but then I was like, I have YouTube TV. Like I can just watch the fucking game. Now the next week Nebraska's game is not gonna be available on there, but that's
frustrating.
Different story for a different time.
This is gonna sound very unrelated. My only context for this is that my dad used to listen to old Bill Cosby comedy records, and I remember there was one act and this is not me endorsing him at all. He's a piece of shit. Bury him under the jail. Like that's like what I'll say is he did have a very funny bit about a commercial that he had a football player when he was growing up, and it's just such a riot to listen to it, because when you listen to it and then you watch those now, you're like, okay, yep, this tracks.
Yeah.
Like this is a very very real thing. So
I just think it's funny we get into the systems literally get into a copy and paste cookie cutter, and they feel like they don't have to change. And then the world changes, and then they get left behind. And then you see this moment in time of them trying to catch up. It was like when TikTok happened, right? When TikTok happened, and some people was like, this was just the former dancing app. Like, okay, it's not going to be a thing. Then everybody changed their content, their ratio, everything to try to catch up with like TikTok. So I just think I wonder when college football, and if college football needs to catch up. I mean, maybe they don't care. Maybe they just don't give a damn.
I mean, right? It all goes to the highest bidder, right? So, like all that ad time, and I mean, I guess like to me, some people are figuring out like how to do new commercials, like even just after post 2020 or like anything like that, because then you'll get an ad for like, I don't have a Publix by me, but like, there's a Publix commercial, and the whole thing is about this guy who he enters this family not as a dad, and like the daughter keeps calling him by his name, and by the end of it, it's like, thanks, Dad, and like it's her wedding day, and then it's like, anyway, we're a grocery store, and it's like, okay, like
cool, great,
okay, I guess. Like,
so much emotional pull.
I don't know why I needed to go on that emotional roller coaster for a grocery
why did we need
store.
to do that? Why did we need to do that?
But thanks, like I it's just they're trying. I feel like folks are trying to figure it out between being like this frenetic YouTube video, right? Of like, everybody's talking like this to get your attention, like they don't want you see some ads do that, but then like I don't know, for me, I'm a different demographic, so like anything that is like underplayed and surreal, I'm gonna be like, okay, that was funny. So like the Skittles commercials or the Taco Bell ones, like
those 3 Jesus commercials during the Super Bowl.
Oh
boy.
yeah.
Those,
and then you read the agenda of the organization. You were like, oh no,
I
don't think so.
We should maybe revisit this at a later date.
I watched that with my family. It was also a birthday party, and it was like totally silent, and I was trying to talk to Maggie. And for folks who listen to the podcast, you may know I'm not like quiet sometimes, and I said louder than I'd like to admit. I said, what the hell is this? And anyway, yeah.
Brian.
I quickly found out. Everyone informed me, but I was just like, "What is this commercial exactly?"
Yeah. So it's for a church, you goddamn heathen. Like,
I know, well, that too. But like, so people are trying to figure this out. But like, at the end of the day, I feel like we're all just seeing ads.
I just remembered that Marcus watched the Super Bowl with Brittany and I.
I sure did.
Amazing.
I just remembered
right at
that.
the house.
Amazing.
That's because I remember looking at you and I was like, well.
Yeah, we were both like,
I am a Christian man, and
that's nice.
I love the Lord in my own personal fashion, and I was like, I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Spent millions of dollars on that.
Yep, they most certainly did.
Yep.
And you have to ask yourself if they can afford to spend millions of dollars on that ad. Just saying. Brian, do you have any news that you'd like to go over before we take a dive into movie land?
The only news I was going to share was Adam Driver just going off. There's a funny piece on Deadline about how there is now a public relations position paying $333,000 about to represent the studios to basically manage the crisis. This is a position within the crisis firm, as far as I understand it. Okay. Deadline found it. So basically, the studios are now at a point where they're like, "Oh, we need to like pay somebody to like do some of this." And apparently, some of the rumors are that they're doing it because of the disastrous Bob Iger interview, where he said that the demands of everybody were frightening. I can't remember the exact quoting. It was bad. Like he said it was
disturbing or something.
It was disturbing. Thank you, Marcus. So Anyway, if you want to work for for people who are out of touch, there's a job for you for $300,000. So Doug, I saw you were wanting to jump in.
You answered my question, so that's.
I think I saw this job on LinkedIn, but actually I'm going through it now. It's a
what?
It's a job on LinkedIn that is as publicist for WB, but I don't. After you said it was for a separate company.
Well, they also might be doing a seashell game too.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask, like, is that's a big chunk of change. What would be?
I might say fuck them strikers.
I was just gonna say, how does this affect me? Do I look like a bad person, or where do I shake out?
I will go and defend out for that amount of money. I will go and defend and come back on this podcast.
And remember, they're not letting us say Merry Christmas anymore, so it's a whole thing. And I was just asking, like, maybe
gotta do something.
Fran Drescher's gonna find you.
Okay.
Your house.
Well, Brian, that's why I put my hand down and said you answered my question.
Oh, just the animation of her walking up to Doug's house with like
it's like a horror twist. It was like, oh shit!
All she has is the cord to the vacuum cleaner, and she's
at the bottom it says directed by Jordan Peele.
Oh no!
Yes. Wow, we got a movie here.
Sold it.
Let's do it. Tell the AI write the movie.
Yeah,
oh my gosh!
Oh Jesus!
Nanny M. Drescher walks to front house.
Yeah, right. She says, "I'm here to clean your body." Cut to, like, that's how the AI would do it.
Let's get to the movie.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, let's get to. So this week we all sort of watched a different movie. Well, two of us watched the same movie.
That's okay.
And that's what we got. So we're gonna kind of dive into it. Brian, what did you watch this particular week?
Yeah. Thank you, Chris Schultz, for that comment about the weather, which is basically our version of that is. So what about those movies? Anyway,
yep, that's right. That's exactly what we do.
I decided to challenge myself a little bit and go towards something I wouldn't have normally picked for myself. And I looked at I looked at movies that had come out on streaming over the past 2 weeks, and one of them I had never heard about. I haven't seen a trailer. I was going in totally fresh. It's called The Monkey King, and it released on Netflix. I'm gonna bring up the stats here because I want to make sure I get this right.
Like 2
weeks
ago,
it released on Netflix August 18th. So if you're like, okay, why are you bringing up August 18th? Because I have a bone to pick with Netflix, and Doug and Marcus already know about this. But basically, Netflix does this thing where they won't promote like any of their stuff. And then if you have push notifications on your phone, you'll get a notification that's like, hey, this movie's out today. And you're like, okay. And you swipe it away, right? Because you don't need that. And then you just totally forget about it. So anyway, it was one of those movies that just comes and goes really fast. And so it's inspired by The Journey West, which is a Chinese folklore tale. If you're familiar with that. And so I just totally went in totally fresh. Didn't even know. Jimmy O. Yang stars in this. You might know him from Silicon Valley. Bowen Yang from SNL. You might also know him from that. And that was basically like, those were the folks that I knew the most. You can go check out the rest of the cast list, and I encourage you to. It's a predominantly Asian cast. So that was something I thought was great that I didn't know this movie had. So I went into it. This thing is supercharged. It's high octane. It moves very fast, and not all of that was for me, but essentially the premise of the movie is that this monkey is born from a rock, has no family, and he basically wants to become a god. He wants to prove to everybody that he belongs. You have a whole slate of gods in heaven. You got Buddha up there too. Dope. And essentially he goes on an adventure to prove that he is worthy. And it mostly works. Bowen Yang steals the show a little bit. He's like he's a dragon. He has a musical number. He's really funny. His dragon has a dermatology issue. He can't stay out of the water that long. It's really funny and modernized, but also trying to adapt this tale. and so that stuff is really, really good. The animation, stellar. How they frame some of the shots, fantastic for an animated movie. Like this definitely feels like a great alternative to a Disney animated film, in my opinion. If you're just, I don't need the D on it. I just want something else. And this is a good lane for you to be in.
Don't.
Some things.
I see you smirking, Bill. I see you smirking up there in the upper right.
I realized what I said after I said it, and I regret it. So essentially, it worked for me in that aspect. What didn't work for me is essentially it moves so fast you can't really latch on to some parts of the story and they get lost.
Oh, sure.
And then there's other parts where I'll be honest, the main character isn't super likable. So because they're trying to basically have this journey and the movie is set up like there's gonna be another one. So it does tell its own story. But for me, knowing nothing about any of the mythology about Journey to the West, I was waiting for that character development to happen of like, oh man, I should like be nice to people. And that doesn't happen. It's not really fulfilling or satisfying for me, but it is different. So if that is something that you enjoy or you like seeing how that character progresses or doesn't progress, this would be that could be something for you. So yeah, that's kind of my quick Roush review of this. It's a great alternative to anything like animated for Disney, and it's an all Asian cast, which I think is a phenomenal feat in making sure to support those folks. And yeah, I think that's where I'll stop for now. Again, I love the animation. So that is the Monkey King, and it's a very there awesome.
It is. Really quick, a couple other folks that are in it is Joe Coy, who's a stand-up comic. He plays Benbow is the character's name. And then B.D. Wong from both Law and Order and from Jurassic Park plays the voice of the Buddha.
And Heart of Stone. Yeah. So B.D. Wong, I'm so sorry. I missed you, man. My bad.
And there are 2 white people in this movie.
There are.
And they both do baby voices. There you go.
Incredible.
But yeah. Marcus doesn't want stuff with a D on it either.
I didn't say anything.
You showed incredible respect.
I appreciate your restraint.
I did see that movie.
Gosh.
I did see that movie. And,
did you?
I didn't. No. I'm sorry. I saw the. When you're scrolling through Netflix, that was one that I added to my list to watch.
Oh sure.
I was like, like I usually like Netflix's animated stuff.
Yep.
So now that you gave that review, I will definitely go watch it.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, yeah. I'm glad.
Genuine review only.
Genuine review.
So I did watch another movie before Blue Beetle. So we both, Doug and I both watched Blue Beetle. I did watch another movie, and so I'm gonna talk about 2.5.
Oh wait, hold on. You watched 2 new movies? Nerd. Fucking nerd. You like
overachiever.
I'm cool as fuck, so I don't give a damn.
Well, I'm insecure, and I'm gonna take you down a peg if I can.
If it's my problem, it's your problem.
I'm insecure.
You know what? Nope, not today.
That was such a therapeutic moment. Well, I'm insecure.
You know what? Well, I have insecurity issues, so
now it's your problem, man. So I watched one movie. I watched was called Hypnotic, the one with Ben Affleck.
Okay.
So I don't know if y'all heard this movie. It's a movie on maybe Paramount, maybe Peacock, one of the P's. So
Hypnotic, yes.
Is it Hypnotic, right? So Hypnotic is streaming. I'm pretty sure it's on Paramount because that's been one of my favorite apps to watch it on recently. And so Hypnotic is about basically. Spoiler alert, because I'm just going to give it all away because I don't know if anybody really cares or not. Yeah, spoiler alert. So Hypnotic is basically about this guy. He's a cop who's Ben Affleck, and he is trying to solve this mystery about where his daughter is. Essentially, it boils down to he runs into this guy who can basically hypnotize people, and they do whatever it is he says until they can't do it anymore, right? So he walks past this lady and he says, "It's extremely hot outside today, right? It's almost like it's a fucking furnace outside." And he just walks away casually, smoothly. He hypnotized her, and then she starts to strip and says, "Oh my God, it's hot. It's so hot. It's burning hot outside." And like, she can't stop until she accomplishes whatever it is the person
Right.
that hypnotized you told you to do. Right.
Okay.
So a lot of times he'll tell people, "Oh, you got to kill yourself after this thing is over." He had a partner that was
damn.
trying to kill himself. He tried to handcuff him. The guy was willing to like rip his hand out of the handcuffs in order to finish the job, essentially. Right. So he's with this other lady who is trying to help him solve this mystery of where's the daughter, who's the daughter. They found this picture and they're trying to find out what the picture means. It's like a phrase on there that's backwards. Essentially, just fast forward a little bit. It turns out these people have are a powerful hypnotics. And so they treat hypnosis like it's a power, like mind reading, kind of like the movie Shift or Push, kind of like that movie Push, right?
Yeah.
And so it really boiled down to he was looking for his daughter. They set him up to think that he was a cop living in this world, but really they were running him through like 12 trial periods because he had a daughter who was powerful as fuck, one of the strongest hypnotics like ever in existence, and they wanted to take her and train her with what they called the it was some secret organization. I forgot what the name of the organization was, right? And so he was like, "No, I don't want to do that." So he hid his daughter and hypnotized and wiped his memory. Okay. They put him essentially in this geodome that made him relive his mind. Like they rebooted his mind and they made him walk through this entire process. They did it 12 times, but he was so good at clearing out his mind that every time they got to the same point, they couldn't figure out where the daughter was. So it really is like this whole story of like, oh, it's kind of like Catch-22. It's almost like it tried to Catch-22 itself a little bit too much in some areas. But once it got to that point and that big reveal, I was like, this is a decent movie and a decent plot. It was perfect for a streaming platform.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So that was a pretty good, decent movie that I watched. Any comments, questions about that?
I feel like streaming movies excel in high concept execution, in my opinion. Like,
because you can pause it and go back.
Yes.
I mean, and you can try to make your big whiz bang action film, but the whole time I'm watching that, I'm like, this would probably be better on a bigger screen, right? Yep. So like having these high concept character driven pieces like you're talking about, Marcus, like I want to watch that even though I know the twist.
Yeah,
like,
sorry, I might have ruined it for you.
No, I mean, I think it's fine. Like I have a, I have a healthier relationship with spoilers than I used to. I used to know somebody that would run out of a theater, by the way, so they couldn't watch a trailer. So they wouldn't know anything.
I don't blame them. The trailers give away everything.
I mean, some trailers really do give away everything. Yes. I know someone like that. Yes. Run out of the theater. Anyway, no, that sounds like a great piece.
It was
more high concept stuff from streamers.
It was good. And I like Ben Affleck. So
me too.
He's at the stage in life for me where I will watch anything that he's in. He's kind of going to give me the same Ben Affleck-y type role. You know what I mean? And so but it's perfectly fine. The other thing I want to talk about before we get into Blue Beetle was the finale of My Adventures with Superman.
How was it?
It was worth it. It was a very good finale.
Awesome.
Sweet.
They did not waste any time. Really getting into, they introduced Kryptonite. I really love the animation and the way that they introduce Kryptonite and the effect that it has on Clark's body of like when he interacts with it, Kryptonite crystals grow from his skin. Like that's how effective it is. You know what I mean? Like it's really, really good. They're introducing a lot of concepts, and spoiler alert again, I definitely think they're introducing Brainiac, but they also said a phrase at the very end that was like, the alien comes back and says, "We have found a planet that is rebelling against you, my lord. I found you a new planet." And he says they're in robotic suits, so you can't really see what the fuck they look like. And he says, "It does not matter. They all will kneel." And then I was like, well, okay, could be Zod, could be fucking Brainiac, but the finale was really good. I don't want to really spoil it too much because I feel like y'all may watch this one. So
I think that
will watch this one.
I am going to watch it. It's going to slot in at that 10 p.m. like half hour. Like I need to turn my brain off. So I'm excited about that.
Easy watch, really good. Yep. And then they're already in the work for season 2. So I just really wanted to plug Genuine Review as much as I can, but this was just a really good show. Really good show.
And I had someone I used to be with at Combo, Eric Fredrickson. He's written for IGN and other sites. He like reached out to me and he's like, dude, Adventures of Superman is really good. And I was like, okay, yeah, like I've only heard good
Sold.
things. So I mean, and Marcus has been talking it up every week. So that's how, I mean, like, I'm ready.
Good.
I'm ready.
That animation style is going to be right up y'all's alley, and like the voice and the way that they don't fluff it too much. You know what I mean? Like they get right to the. You think well, one thing I hate about TV shows, and this be my last little thing, right? Get off my soapbox. I hate when shows beat a dead horse with a particular thing.
Oh boy. Yeah.
And like animations, like they want to drag you on to be like I got to the where I wanted to in Ninja Turtles, to 2003, 2005 Ninja Turtles, right? Ninja Turtles, fast forward. I got there. Then I said, this wasn't as good as I remember it used to be.
Yep.
And to me, it was like, oh, every episode at one point was like a to be continued from a to be continued from a to be. And then I was like,
that's how I felt about the Spider-Man, like the Fox, like the heavy guitar.
Oh my god!
The
third
Spider-Man.
season. The third season, it was like. Yeah, the 90s one where it was like the third season was like, I mean, and this is part 1 of 12, and you're like, fuck, like I don't have
especially
that
the Secret Wars
time.
one. Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I would tune in as a kid, and it would be like the title of the episode is like "Sins of the Father," Part 6, and it's like I haven't seen parts 1 through 5. Am I gonna be okay?
And what made it worse, and what makes it worse for those kind of like part 1, part 2, part 3, like I was like, I was watching this weekly. Like it was so like time has passed. So when I go to watch this show, I'm watching this week to week. It's not like I can binge it like I can now. And I don't know if that stressed anybody else out, but me thinking about that as a kid, I was like, it was like it's good and bad. Because I was like, man, I miss the days when you could just watch something for a week and be excited for it, like My Adventures with Superman.
And now everybody's like, well, why can't you remember how to add fractions? It was because I was trying to keep up on what fucking like part of Spider-Man I was on and remember it for next week. That's why I can't add.
I gotta
fractions.
memorize that to get to that. So
yeah, I can't keep it all in there.
I can't believe this. Also, I'm looking at like the seasons of Spider-Man of starting in 1994. They restarted a story in season 3 and titled it Sins of the Father Chapter 7. This is in season 3, episode 7. So if you're a kid just wanting your Spider-Man, you're like, anyway, here's chapter 7 of a story that started last year.
And by the way, you can't go back and watch the other ones because
you can't
TV.
go back because it's
TV.
My gosh. You have to buy it on DVD. Like when I rewatched Spider-Man, I think season 3 was a drag because of that.
Yeah,
I don't know if I'm getting this right. I can't even find. Look,
Chris Shelton says, "Sir, I will hear no slander, all caps, against the."
We're not saying it was bad. We're just saying it was poor decision making.
It was a lot.
I'm just saying it was a bold decision. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying you're asking a lot of kids, and you know what? Sometimes kids surprise you, and they'll be like, "Where's my chapter? Like, where's my chapter 10 of Sins of the Father? Come on, like I'm eating my cereal. Let's go."
That's where you get all the actually kids from, where they correct you on every goddamn thing.
Yeah. I have since we're doing 2 movies.
I didn't bring a second movie.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm not a nerd.
I just feel
God damn it. That would hurt. God damn it.
I know, I feel bad. I want to be in the movie nerd club. I only brought 1 movie.
It's okay. Look how it turns. Now everybody wants to do it.
I know,
exclusive club. And it's not really like I didn't really like. I watched it. It is not my bag. The kids watched Ugly Dolls on Netflix, which I sat through all of. It's a musical about dolls that don't fit in.
Doug, sounds like your favorite type of movie.
And the cast. The reason why I want to bring it up is because the music was genuinely good. Like and it's a kids movie, so I can forgive a musical a little bit more. Yeah. But like, listen to the cast of this movie: Kelly Clarkson,
I'm in.
Nick Jonas, Janelle Monáe, Blake Shelton.
Okay, all right.
Pitbull,
and Mr. Worldwide,
Ice-T, Wanda Sykes,
Wanda,
Gabriel Iglesias, and then Bebe Rexha. I think that's how she says it.
I enjoy her.
I think it's BB Rexa.
I do enjoy her.
Charlie XCX, and then Lizzo.
Oh, I love her.
God
Oh,
damn.
wow.
And the music is just fucking top notch.
Wow.
So if you're looking for like a pop, like a very poppy, again, not necessarily my jam, but a very poppy, like, this is why you should love yourself. Like, it's great. You should.
Well, sometimes I need that, Doug.
Well, and here's the other thing. Your kids need that, because it is a lot about like fitting in. So I appreciated they put like what can be sometimes a challenging concept in such a consumer wrapper.
I agree.
So yeah,
I mean,
great job.
So,
Yeah, great.
But also, I watched Blue Beetle, not to be confused with Black Beetle.
I'm very excited to hear what you all thought of Blue Beetle.
Can I really talk? Can I kind of paint the picture of what our movie experience was like?
Oh,
Absolutely.
In the theater?
Tell me.
Please do.
So, me and Dougie Fresh, you know what I mean? Me and my guy, my guy. This is my guy, my man, 50 grand, right?
Yeah.
We watch movies together. I think people think
do.
sometimes that we're gay, but we just best friends who like to watch movies. There was a guy who kept looking at us the whole time, and I was like, "What the fuck what are you looking at?" Like,
was it the guy that was giggling?
The guy, no, not Rick. It was the guy in front of us. He kept turning around when we walked in. And I was like, "What the fuck is the problem?" Yes, we are watching a movie together. Turn around and mind your damn business.
Listen to the song "Ebony and Ivory" and you'll get it.
Yeah, like what the fuck? Like this is the problem. There's not enough people minding their damn business. That's why everybody always worry about what's going on over here.
I agree.
Anyway, so we go to a new spot. We don't go to our typical spot.
Ooh.
We did not.
Okay, so there is a theater that shut down over COVID. Well, there was a mall that shut down over COVID that had a movie theater in it's a big ass strip mall. Is that a strip mall? Is that considered?
No. I would say it's a mall.
That's like, a mall.
Strip mall. I consider like there are predominantly doors outside.
Right?
Yes.
You know, and there's only like 5 of them. This was a mall that it had a Staples, it had a department store,
man.
it had everything.
Yeah.
And then like even before COVID, and really online purchases hit this one very hard.
Yep.
And the whole thing shut down. And except for like this movie theater, the spot across the way that they turned into like a kids play area thing.
Excellent.
And then the sporting goods store on the very end. This is the site of the next, like, where you would escape a zombie apocalypse. Like, that
excellent.
Is
Good.
is.
Yep.
Good.
Smiley face on the door and all, like a big scary.
That was terrifying.
Moment with a extension cord plug surge protector hanging from the roof.
Yep.
Like right out.
Because how do you plug in your claw machine? In the floor? No. In a
Straight
surge protector that's on the roof.
Good.
Down.
Good.
Like roof down.
Following all electrical.
Good.
Good.
Yep. Up to code.
OSHA would have no problem.
No problem. So we walk into the theater, right? So we go to the new spot. I was like, because it feels closer somehow, but it's still the equal distance away from the other place.
Same.
Yeah, it's about the same. So we go to the new place. Me and Doug walk up. It is empty because they did just reopen the place. Like a guy bought the mall and he wants to reopen it and make the mall kind of come back to life. I also think the movie theater was shut down. And then I think they opened it back up again. Yeah,
it used to be an AMC, and then it shut down. Yeah,
interesting.
So this is all in the mall. The people are nice. It's like students working it, like it's a weekend job, that kind of stuff. There, everybody's nice. They welcome you in. You get your drink and everything. It doesn't feel as expensive. The tickets. I paid $21 for a large drink, candy, and the ticket. Didn't really see how much the ticket was actually.
I paid $16.
Okay.
For mine.
Okay.
So,
that's pretty. We might have paid about the same amount that we usually do here in Brown.
That adds up.
So we pick the movie. We go to Blue Beetle. Okay, we walk over to Blue Beetle. The seating is like not the big recliner.
It's not the big recliner, but it's nice. Like it wasn't. These seats weren't falling apart. They looked like they were at least
good seats.
Moderately new. They were comfortable. There weren't any weird springs out of place.
Okay.
Nope. Nothing poked you when you sat down or anything like that. You know what I mean? Had to get a tetanus shot or anything like that. So it's all good.
That's good.
So we sit down. They start the trailers. Problem number 1. They left when I say all the lights on the entire movie.
Well, not the entire movie, but for the trailers, all of the lights were still on.
Oof.
There were more lights? It felt just as bright when I walked in as when I walked out.
You want to know why? Because they left I wouldn't have had any problem with the lights on the side being on.
Right.
They left the fucking overhead light on, and it was just one, and it was for the entire movie. So yes, they dimmed all the ones on the outside. Talk about a moment where you're like, yeah, I nailed that homework. It was like, dude, there was a whole back half. You just fucking skipped it.
Yeah.
So yeah, they dimmed the lights on the side, but the one right above was like just on.
Bright as like shine bright like a damn diamond.
That would
like,
bother me.
on the entire time.
I noticed it right away, and then I was like, okay, so I guess we're just doing this. Like,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
I moved on.
Yeah, because I didn't want to
it.
go out there and like bother the kids. They got a weekend job. They probably wouldn't even know how to turn the damn light. You know what I mean? Like that was a whole thing.
Right.
So we're watching this. Basically, I'm sitting what would be at home with my guy Doug,
Sure.
streaming a movie because this is how I was streaming. Matter of fact, even my lights wouldn't be on. I could turn my lights red right now. Okay, Google, turn my lights red. Like it just would be like one of those things. You know what I mean? So look, there they go. So
they're red.
They are red now. With the black guy voice. So we go through the entire movie, right? Number 2, kids. I love kids, but hear me clear. There were little kids that laughed at everything.
And by little, they were like 7 and 8. Like they were obviously someone's kids who was working the front desk. Like they brought them with because they didn't have a sitter, so they're like, "You're just gonna watch a couple movies tonight. That's the way it's gonna work."
Because I heard them say specifically at one point, "Okay, I'll meet you. We're gonna hop over to the other movie. I'll see you. I'll see you when you get out." And I was like, "Wait, what?" But I didn't want to turn around,
right?
Because it's not my business. I'm trying to mind my business. So the kids are laughing loudly and hysterically at every little thing in this movie that you could think of. And then not to mention Rick. Right.
Only rivaled by the gentleman sitting 3 seats down from theirs, who saw this movie by himself, who I think was there only for George Lopez, because he laughed the entirety. If there was a joke, he was like, like he was just like
deep,
fucking
guttural laugh.
Not like a like it was solid, like and then the wheeze, like the like that was just
while he's
another level.
He's sitting man spread, like he's
sitting
like
fucking comfortable,
slouched in the seat, like he was like super comfortable. So that was the movie experience while we watched Blue Beetle.
Honestly, there's something going on, and we can talk about it more because I had something happen to me at Barbie where somebody, like, they brought their kid, they obviously couldn't get a sitter, and they just like whipped out their phone and they just started watching videos on their phone, like in the middle of the movie. And it was just kind of like
etiquette.
Hey, like, I get it, like kids are tough, but I also, my wife and I are trying to enjoy the movie, and you have like YouTube on, like, what are you doing? So
just turn that down,
I get it. It affects how you view it.
Yeah. The movie itself.
Tell me.
I probably could have streamed it. Like that's not like a shot at the movie. I think, Brian, you made an interesting point earlier. You were talking about, for your action movie.
Yeah.
I don't, I want to see that on a big screen. I would say there were moments with this particular action movie where I did not need it on a big screen.
Interesting.
So,
why
like,
is that?
there were a couple of red flags. So obviously, background for those listening. Blue Beetle was originally going to be a straight to HBO Max type of deal. And then they put it on we're actually going to put it into theaters. Now, for representation reasons, really glad they put it into theaters.
Yeah.
This movie takes a lot of, you can tell that there is a lot of like experience around people, like Latinx people, people who come from immigrant families. Like there are a lot of pieces here that they were like, no, put that in. Like there was a whole moment in this that felt very like, oh, so this is the symbolism between cord and ice is like, it's like they came into, pulled people out of their homes. It was like, oof, fuck. Like,
oh,
this is
wow.
okay. And very well done. Very, very well done. And so I really enjoyed that level of symbolism. But there were a couple of things. So like you could tell because the title sequence at the beginning was longer. It was like they introduced every single actor. And so that to me, I was like, okay, right away I was like, all right, okay. And then the city itself, which I can't tell you what the name of this city was.
Okay.
You
got it?
You keep going.
And so, but the idea is that like a lot of the poorer folks live in the like flats outside of the city, and the big city itself is they can look and see it. When they're going through the city, it's like it feels like they're like, okay, cut and paste white building, but we're just gonna put digital screen on the side of the building.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a lot of moments where it was like, the city doesn't have a personality. The flats do, and maybe that was the point. But the city itself is just sort of like insert random city here.
Jeez.
And so it's just kind of weird.
Palmyra City. So originally Blue Beetle is from El Paso, Texas, but the director said they wanted Palmyra City to feel like it's supposed to feel like Miami with Los Angeles buildings.
Yeah,
that kind of vibe, and so it looks kind of futuristic to an extent.
Yes.
So like Cord Industries, it's like neon and it's futuristic-y. The buildings have like 3D projected neon type buildings, like like stuff on it. So
yeah.
The overall like plot acting of the movie was great. Like it was. I enjoyed the plot. It was what I appreciated about it is, and I'll actually kind of let Marcus say it, but it was really like they really didn't over explain this shit. Like they just sort of said refreshing. Like they were just sort of like, yeah, these other places exist. There's a moment where George Lopez, they're talking about Flash, they're talking about Wonder Woman, and they're talking about Batman, and they just bring them up. Like and Jaime is wearing a Gotham University T-shirt for the first couple moments of this, so it's not a like we're not gonna sit here and pretend like this is there are other superheroes here. Like this is a world where that exists, and so which I appreciated.
Cool.
I mean, for me, it was like I know a bit about Blue Beetle. He is a newer character, right? And kind of his arch in DC is kind of simple. It depending on what you watch. And so if you want to watch more, I will point you towards Young Justice, early seasons of Young Justice. Doug brought up a good point. Batman the Brave and the Bold also covers a lot of that too. And there's some other forms that you can watch where you can kind of see Jaime really get active as Blue Beetle. And, the depiction in this movie is a little bit different. Like Doug said, they know superheroes exist. And James Gunn kind of hinted at this of like, no. Superman isn't going to be the first hero, like superhero to reveal himself. Like that's not going to happen. We're being inserted into a world where it is like the norm. Like he literally says, I can't fly, Superman can fly. And like Doug said, he says, you know how the Flash has Central City and Batman has Gotham and Metropolis has this. Superman has Metropolis and et cetera, right? Like they are mentioning that. And so you see things in this that I enjoy. The parts that I enjoy is the fanatical aspect of the superhero world.
Okay.
So we heard Ted Kord was the Blue Beetle, and once it's revealed, what's his oh my god, George Lopez says, "Oh my god, I didn't know that your dad was the Blue Beetle. He was like a hero for the rest of us." Like he had just called Batman a fascist like maybe 5 minutes right before that. You know what I mean? And so he said, "Oh, I didn't know that your guy was a hero." He was like a hero for us, like, you know, for the people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And so he had respect for that. But when it comes to the big time heroes, it was kind of like, so you could I could see how they're trying to set it up.
Yeah, I like that.
They also have a point where Ted Kord's in the comic book, Ted Kord basically flies around this big ass beetle, Blue Beetle. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And they have a scene in this where they ride that Blue Beetle to go help Jaime.
Yeah.
And they kill somebody. And they show it.
They most certainly do. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's sort of
not expecting that.
There are a couple of moments like this that are a little bonkers. Like, and there are some, because this movie is it's both a family movie in terms of like plot device. Like Jaime and his family are like this. They are both the reason why he's in this situation as well as his motivation for much of the situation. Yeah. And I say the reason he's in this situation because his sister is responsible for all of it.
So we also didn't explain that. So Ted Kord,
their death of their dad. that's on her.
Yeah.
Like all of
Ted-
it.
Oh boy.
Jesus
Oh
Christ.
boy.
Ted Cord from Cord Industries
Yeah.
becomes the Blue Beetle. He is the Blue Beetle. He goes
Yeah.
missing. His dad, Ted Cord's dad gave him the business, right? And so gave him the company to run. They were a weapons company. His son, Ted Cord, did not want to run it like a weapons company. The other thing to add about this movie is it's a Spider-Man age typed hero with an Iron Man type backstory.
I mean, and that's kind of what the preview gave me vibes for.
Yep. And that's exactly what it hit on. So
as advertised, excellent.
As advertised. So Ted Cord has gone missing. So Victoria Cord, his sister, who is white, Ted Cord is also white, but he married a Brazilian, Colombian. His wife is like Colombian. Brazilian. They have a child named Jenny, Brazilian, who's Jenny Cord. The aunt takes over the company. She turns it back into a weapons company. Wants to turn it back into a weapons company. Takes it over. Doesn't give a fuck about anybody with this system.
Real quick, the point that Marcus is saying, like, oh, that she's white, is not an insignificant point for how Susan Sarandon operates in this movie.
Yep.
There are two characters that are white, and they are both terrible. Like as in terms as people, terrible. Continue. I just wanted to make that like that's not just like an identifier. That's a very important part of the movie.
Thank you. So they go and they want to make this thing called the OMAC, which is it's a one man army machine or something.
One man army corps.
One man army corps. Thank you. So they want to make it basically resembles the Blue Beetle technology that they had from Ted Cord. They took from his records. All they need is something to power it, essentially, right? So an endless amount of power supply, which is the Blue Beetle. They said earlier in it, if you miss it, like there were decoys of like these things that they were digging to around the planet, and apparently Ted Cord hid the Blue Beetle scarab inside of this big ass rock thing of whatever that they're trying to dig into, but they find it. They take him, do some studies on it. Jenny Cord tries to confront her aunt, but her aunt says, don't get in my fucking way. Okay. Her aunt has this ride or die lieutenant with him who is also Hispanic. Now you got to keep that in mind. And she has basically tore him apart and rebuilt him. Okay,
kind of Nebula style
for the OMAC. Yeah, big time.
Very much Nebula style. Like you failed over and over, so it's just a chance for me to improve.
Yeah. So they go through, and they basically just trying to find the Blue Beetle scarab. Jenny confiscates the scarab. She steals it from the thing, Jenny Cord, right?
Yeah.
Takes it from the thing because Jaime was looking for a job, and she essentially got him fired because he stood up for her at the house. She said, stop by Cord Industries. He stopped by Cord Industries because he needed a job because the family is losing the house. They're going into debt. He just graduated college. He went to law school. He went to pre-law. So went to school for pre-law. They're losing the house. The family's like, we're going to figure it out, whatever the case may be. He goes, Jenny Cord steals it, puts it in a Big Belly Burger box, and gives him this box. Doesn't tell him what's in it. It says, do not open it. Okay, just hold this for me. Do not open it. Good. I need you to hold it. I will come get you. They take it to the house, and the sister says, you didn't open it? You should open it up. And then they start tossing the scarab back and forth. Then Jaime catches the damn scarab, and then it activates. So apparently the scarab chooses the host.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. Now the scarab is operating. It bonds with him, takes him on that whole first flight journey type shit.
Yep.
And the whole premise is the scarab and Jaime got to get on the same page in order to save his family.
Right on.
Yep. Yeah, and that's a great like little mini barbershop there. Like that's perfect.
Yeah.
So and overall, like I said, the plot is great. There are just some moments where it's like, you know, and to kind of the point that Marcus said, like it kills. So they kill somebody on screen and they show it.
Yeah.
So they land on this island and the little Blue Beetle thing has stopped flying and it's walking around.
Sure.
Well, and this is where I kind of say like there's some tone things with it that were weird. So they click a button inside the bug where they do like, oh, let's do the bug fart move, and then do the bug fart move, and then they knock everybody out. And then 2 seconds later, one of the mechanized legs stabs through a human body, and then shakes it off and keeps walking. So there's a part of me that's like, who is this for? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a random assortment of folks of like, the bug fart part plays really great with younger audiences.
Oh, I'm
then
sure.
You've got something relatively pretty gruesome, like, and while they don't show any blood, you can put 2 and 2 together.
Oh, I'm sure
like,
they use
there's
sound
something
though.
Yeah, there's a crunch noise for sure.
Yup.
That like there were moments like that where I was kind of like, there are some tone switches that are really, really, really quick. Very quick tone switches. Even like George Lopez does a great job in his role, but again, even there are some tone switches where it's like 1 minute Jaime's trying to make sure that he saves his family. The next is, George is making a joke about like, I don't want you to use the word alien to describe the scarab. Which is a funny moment, but then it's like, can we all just buckle down and be serious here for a minute?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's just some weird tone switching pieces to it that are all over the place.
And it's a huge, it contradicts itself too, before I say my next point. Like,
oh no,
Jaime is big on like, I don't want to kill anybody, but his family is killing people. Like, like Nana comes with a fucking big ass gun down the hallway and is like, let it rip. So it contradicts itself. The other thing is, it is a family movie. And I mean that by he takes his family with him, or his family is with him the entire movie. Like physically, not like in his heart. I mean, like physically.
They are following him. Like they are tagging along
and helping him.
Yes.
So it causes problems in trying to build connections with particular characters, especially when these big, massive moments happen, and you're kind of like, this should be sad, but I haven't built enough of a connection with this person because there's so many characters on screen at the same time.
Like again, spoiler alert: the dad dies in the movie, and I gotta be real, like. Towards the end, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot he died. Like it was just like it was just there were moments like that, and you can't lose when that's your with great power, great responsibility moment. Like you can't lose that moment, and you kind of have to go like, oh shit, right, yeah, he died. Right. So yeah.
But it is a good movie. It does what it needs to do. Very heavy. This is my personal opinion. Don't know any research. Don't know anything personal. Very heavy Iron Man 1 comparisons. Like all this really was the final fight scene is just the Ironmonger versus early Iron Man.
Right.
Like if I'm just being honest, except it's in a plant in a field where it's on an island where it's not any the extra damage and stuff like that. But it is a good movie. It's like a strong like 6.5. And there's so many good things of like the representation, amazing. I can 100%. See a barrier of entry for those that don't come from Mexican culture, right?
I mean, sure.
Because there's pieces of the movie, and this is with anything, like it's with like when Black Panther came out, there's certain things that are like understandable, their Meteor Man was my comparison when I was talking to Doug. But there could be a lot of moments that people just don't understand because they do speak like there's some subtitles. There's certain jokes that they say that aren't in
Spanish
subtitles
that they don't subtitle.
That they don't subtitle. And it's like if you get it, they have a reference to a TV show of like, oh, Jaime is going to get this girl to save him, and blah, blah. It's a reference to some TV show that is very specific to the culture. I can see people just missing. Now back to the other point about the 2 white castings. Okay. This is important because there's a lot of social commentary in the movie.
Very heavy social commentary.
Like
and not bad. Heavy. Poignant, like right? Like it makes a very good point, and it needs to be in there, especially for the lieutenant of Susan Sarandon's character, because he was essentially a child soldier in Guatemala. But the problem is you don't fucking learn that until the last 15 minutes of this movie.
Right.
When his like neural inhibitor gets like shut down. Good job, Brian. Brian saw this come. Brian's seen this movie in his head.
A mile away.
And so like you see this flashback of this moment, and you're sort of like, where was this? Like this is so. There is so much here, and like so
movie.
At the end of the movie, and so there's a lot and then his name is Jaime. He goes into Court Industries. The lady working the front desk is like, okay, what can I do for you, Jamie? Like an intentional pronunciation of his name incorrectly. Susan Sarandon within Court Industries is always white lady surrounded by brown children. Like it is just like it is everywhere. And there's a character that she routinely calls the wrong name. The entire movie. And finally, he gets so sick of it that he helps Jaime get out. But that's it's just such a, there's a lot of that.
It's deliberate.
It's deliberate.
It's deliberate. Like how they address people of color, when there's no benefit or need for them. Like I see exactly what they're doing, and I like the fact that they did it.
And that's great.
It's super important to how they react. It is a very heavy culture. Like I know why it's a family movie. I'm not upset at that at all. I do want to go back and say it because I do understand Mexican culture is big on the family. Like it is like it's everything. You know what I mean? Like being with family is everything. They do a lot of social. There's a scene where Susan Sarandon's team, her name is Victoria Cord. They all have guns and they all have these, she has basically her own army at her fingertips.
Oh, right?
And they go to try to get Jaime from the house where they think the house is, but the family is there. And it resembles an ice.
Yeah, it's the ice raid.
It's an ice raid, essentially, where they flip everything over. They have guns pointed at them. They do all of this stuff. And that is a point of concern that George Lopez points out about, like, hey, if we go to anybody about the Scarab, they're going to come from you. They're going to come for you, Nana, and they're going to start asking questions about your papers. And the brother, they're going to start asking questions about your papers too. That's why we can't go to the police because they own the police. Like,
and that's a legitimate thing.
Yeah, it's very much
legitimate thing that also brings attention to the fact that our immigration system is messed up, and it also 100%. Works as a plot device, more so than some Marvel plot devices I've.
And it's more organic in the way that they didn't beat a dead horse. They just was like, hey, we can't do that because of this. And everybody kind of understands, oh, okay, well, there it goes.
There's no pause for moment. Like sometimes like Marvel will make like their big moment or commentary on or social issue. It's a great way to put it, Marcus. And that's why we got to fight for everybody. Look at camera.
I mean, I would love to talk to Anthony Mackie about how he felt about his Captain America speech.
But again, that was that felt like such a forced moment. Blue Beetle did that moment better. Like they just did it better because they were able to work it into this is a natural conversation that feels like a natural conversation.
Well, and you got to show that, right? Like you can't just tell people. You have to show that. And I feel 100%. Like what you're describing to me is like exactly what this movie did. Like it showed you the consequences too.
Yeah. All in all, like I said, it's an enjoyable.
Oh, sorry, one more thing.
Go ahead.
The two people got on my damn nerves the most, and I think it's really because they tried to Gal Gadot one of the people. And I think it's a matter of not enough character development. And unfortunately, it's two of the female leads. One being Jaime's sister. Whatever they had her lean into as to like be rough and tough and I don't know what the fuck it was.
Well, I don't know what homework they gave this poor woman, but it was fucking.
No. I don't know if they wrote. It was kind of. It got annoying at a certain point. Because she's the little sister who's rough and tough and like doesn't need any help. Super independent.
Always has some sort of wise ass comment, like can you just not for a minute? Like, and that's why we kind of joked like. That's why Marcus and I, like, towards the end, we were like, wait till he tells her it's her fault, all of it. Because if she doesn't force him to open that box and look at that scarab, there's no issue. But there's a lot of, like, family teasing, but they were almost like, make it annoying. And it was just like, there was a moment where I was like, I need her to be quiet.
Nothing to the actress. It's just the way that the way they wrote the character written. And then the other thing is Jenny Cord. Like, beautiful. I think could have taken that role and excelled that role better than what was given, but they did not give Jenny Cord any type of character foundation development. She kind of was like not ditzy. kind of like oblivious to what was going on, if I could say that.
Okay.
Like, it didn't seem like she was like
That's
always
why I
aware
said-
of what the fuck was going on.
That's why I said after they almost Megan Foxed her in Transformers,
Yeah.
of like there's
Oh,
big stuff going
And
on, and
Ninja
she's
Turtles.
just kind of like, what?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's just a lot of that like incredulousness to her, a
She's-
majority of it.
She's
the
the
thing is-
the react. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as bad, and it's not that bad.
Right.
Could have been way better. And
I
so that's
also-
what I would say.
I also, and this is going to be my last point because I really this is the one I'm going out on.
It is.
There was an excessive amount of just straight up boner jokes in this
Yes.
movie.
Yeah, just straight shot.
Not-
Not
not
hidden boner
like-
jokes.
Not like,
Got
oh,
it.
we're kind of hiding it. There's
Yeah.
a moment between Jenny and Jaime. They're in her dad's house. They're
Yeah.
about to kiss. George Lopez walks in, interrupts.
Excellent.
They walk out. George Lopez and Jenny leave. He stands up and has to like cover his
No.
covers himself with his jacket and like walks out.
Because when
Wow.
so much boner jokes that me and Doug thought the movie was going to end a little bit differently, because when
Yeah.
Jaime changes into his Beetle suit, it burns off his clothes. So whenever he changes out of his
Oh.
Beetle suit, he's
Mhm.
naked. So at the end, she's like, well, he asks Jenny, like, where are you gonna go now? Like, when do I get
When
to
can I
see you again?
Yep.
She says, oh, I'm gonna go to my dad's estate. I want to start that back up. He's like, well, how about I give you a ride? And turns into Blue Beetle. And you think, hey, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Me and Doug thought that damn claw was about to go
We thought one of his claws was going to go the other way.
was gonna go swoop her ass up, but then he flies her to the estate, and that's how the movie ends. But then I was like, oh,
We were reflecting on it on the drive home of like, that means they're showing up
He's
to
trying
an
to fuck
abandoned
her.
house and he's just
Yep.
straight up naked.
he's gonna be naked at the house. He's gonna be holding her naked
Uh-huh.
at the house.
Mhm.
Like, you think
And
you slick.
oh, here's the other boner joke. Sorry, I really want to make sure
This-
this. I
This
don't
is
want
the
to lose.
hard hitting
This is
critic.
the
right
hard
here.
hitting fact.
This is the one that
you-
killed Rick
you-
in the row with us.
Oh, I thought Rick was gonna.
Rick.
I thought
Yeah.
Rick was gonna
Rick
fucking
was gonna-
choke to death.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, Rick was having it.
there's a moment. So that moment, can I give you a ride? He turns into Blue Beetle. The mask
Yeah.
isn't on, but remember, he can hear the scarab in his head.
Yes.
Like,
Right.
So because that's a symbiotic relationship.
Of
And
course.
she says, I can hear a lot of blood rushing to your mid-level region.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the fuck, man?
Mhm.
Like, and
Mhm.
oh god.
Mhm.
And so
I
yeah,
mean, this is rated PG-13. I mean, like, I
Lot
get
of
it,
bu-
but
lot of-
also,
But he's not. My last comment. DC has to figure out how to nail these younger characters.
sure.
Because I think the actor is
Shazam.
good, but
Mhm.
Shazam doesn't know how to portray a young like he
No.
went to college, he graduated, and we're still having like
I'm
he
scared
must
of
be
my-
a virgin boner jokes. Like,
scared
I
of
don't
my
know, that's
body
weird to
boner
me.
joke.
No, and I feel like we've talked about this that maybe like a year plus, but like there's some place all these writers get this idea that those like virgin jokes are funny, like, or that everybody's
They've
had the
never
same
evolved
experience.
out of 1991. Like they've
Thank
never
you.
gotten past it. Like we're
and we-
still stuck on the someone
Yeah.
who doesn't know how sex work is hilarious.
Well, and like we don't have to completely rehash it, but like the only
No,
thing I'm
right now.
left with is like, I mean, the only thing I'm left with is like some executive is like, no, we need to give it some zing. We need to connect with teenagers. How about one of those jokes, one of those boner jokes, and it's like.
Yeah.
Sprinkle one of those in.
They got to be concessions.
Or they're
have
just
to.
worried, like, if the superheroes all know how to fuck, everybody will just be doing it all the time, and we'll just be kids
I mean,
everywhere. The STDs will go through the roof.
That's
We
my
have
bonus.
a moral responsibility, everybody.
When we have the
more
Roush-
boner jokes.
Look, when we have the Roush takeover of a bonus episode, I'm happy to talk about how I think it's super weird. All the MCU movies are so abstinent. I think it's so weird. It's so weird.
They
but
don't
yeah,
be
I
fucking
get it.
at all in them MCU movies, and that's ridiculous.
And they do it all the time in the comics.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the comics, like they're so
Tony
ashamed
Stark
of
sleep
it.
with everybody. Like, they need an STD test for that motherfucker.
Tony
Tony
Stark
probably.
in the
She-Hulk.
most recent Tony Stark in the most recent run of X-Men marries Emma Frost. You know why he did that.
I mean, good for him.
I
I
guess.
don't know if
Why
that's
did-
good for him.
why did
But congrats, Tony. Emma's
They're
Good
doing
luck.
it all the time.
Could you imagine what happens when she turns that? Wow.
Okay. This is a great place for us to end. Anything
Wow.
else on Blue Beetle?
What happens? Does that cut it
Nope.
off?
Nope. So you don't need to. You just leave it right
Was
there.
okay.
That's
was
that
there
is a
Gal
90
Gadot?
that is a
What's a-
90-minute
what?
monster. That's a 90-minute monster.
I'm
thought.
just
Leave
saying.
it.
I want to
just-
know what Diamond Kegels looks like.
Not great.
I just want to know. I'm so sorry, Gal Gadot, if you're listening. This transition's
I'm
terrible. Was Gal Gadot cameo? Did she cameo in this movie?
There were no cameos.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
other way you knew that.
Okay.
That's the other.
There's
way
one
that-
cameo. Jason Sudeikis.
Well, it's not Jason. Okay. There's
legendary
a painting.
DC hero Jason Sudeikis.
There is a painting in the Cord house
Of Ted Cord and his family.
of Ted Cord and his family, and when you look at Ted Cord, you're like, that's fucking Jason.
That's Jason Sudeikis.
Like
That's
like,
amazing.
yeah.
And that's the dream casting that the director wants is for Jason Sudeikis.
Really?
You ever
Yeah,
see somebody on the street and
Yeah.
you're like, oh man, that guy looks exactly
I
like
mean, they
Santa,
nailed
Santa
his
Claus.
fucking
It was
head.
that, but Jason Sudeikis.
Like it was his
Wow.
head. It was Jason Sudeikis' head, and you were like, I know that head anywhere.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, no cameos, but that's the other way in which I knew that this was a streamer that was turned into a feature or a theater feature
Okay.
is that when you got to the end credit sequence, there was no, like think Black Panther end credit sequence, think
Right.
Loki end credit sequence, think
Right.
The Flash where there's images and things are going on. None of it. It was like credits,
Yep,
Yeah.
that was
just
it.
straight to it. So yeah.
All right.
Gentlemen, anything else that you'd like to cover on today's episode?
Hashtag genuine review only.
Yep, genuine review.
Genuine review.
Genuine review. Gentlemen, anything that you all would like to plug this week? Brian.
Yes, I'll jump in. My wife has started a new shop on Etsy. It's called Color Me Confetti. It is all one word. You can go there for all of your party needs. There are downloadable designs, easy to purchase, easy to use for any birthday party that you're having for your kids, for yourself. You don't have to buy bundles. If you just want a banner for you want a banner for your living room that's just happy birthday and it looks nice, that's the place to go. Color Me Confetti.
Brian, Brittany and I were talking about that shop, and we
Yeah.
are so excited that someone
Oh.
has done this because
Excellent.
there is so much like random shit where it's like it just doesn't feel personal. And so, like
Yeah.
you said, to the point you just made, if I just want invitations
Right.
for an animal themed birthday party,
Yep.
that's all I need. Like
That's-
I don't need to
and
order
yes.
something else.
Oh,
So
Thank you
when
for
you do to the Etsy shop, make sure you include the shop in there, or otherwise things go off the rails.
Yeah,
we'll link it.
how
It's,
Etsy does it.
it's linked along with the Love Nerds in the bio, so like you don't have to worry about finding it, but it's there. So yeah, that's what we got. Marcus.
Word. Follow the mantra. Never offended, always humble. Do me a favor. Go buy yourself some merch. We go buy yourself some gear. Go buy yourself some merch from the store. If you have been paying attention to the a Sunday playlist or another, I'm sorry, good Lord, a Summer Monday playlist or what is now another Monday playlist series, and you see the little cup with the smiley face that says never offended, always humble, that cup is available on our store right now as we speak. So you can go and buy that coffee cup. If you like all of the mixtapes or you like all of the playlists that we have been doing, we dropped another one today. When you listen to this on the audio version, this will be Wednesday, but Monday I drop a new playlist every day. This week was OGs and samples, and so it was just going to be the original versions of a song and then what song sampled that original version. So that is out right now on Tidal, Spotify, and Apple Music. Make sure you go stream Soul Tie music out right now, and I'm making new music coming very, very soon.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Love it. And I want to plug this podcast. So if you enjoyed our chat and kind of the potpourri nature of it this week, recommend share us with a friend or a family member who will also enjoy it. Also, if you're feeling generous, you want to support us, go to the patreon.com/filmsinblackandwhite to sign up there. There's some bonus episodes that are coming out at the end of this month as we take like sort of a brief hiatus. So we're excited to release that so everybody can see it. But yeah, would love for you all to join our community. Gentlemen, we have a 3-step process to success. What are our 3 steps?
Hey folks, read a book. I had time. I had time to myself this weekend, and I read a book, and it was super fulfilling. So hey, you got a bunch of time coming up. You're like, what am I gonna do? I got it. You just read a book. Just read a book. Fill that time.
Absolutely. Step 2, drink some water. Look, y'all, it was hot these past few days. It was very hot. I felt it. I took a nap today. I don't nap.
You did take a nap.
I did too.
Yep. But
Okay.
what I most certainly did before and after was drink some water to stay hydrated, to replenish what I sweat out from it being so hot.
Mhm.
So make sure you take care of yourself. Drink some water. Just because we're switching into fall and summer's over doesn't mean you got to stop those habits. Drink some water.
You always want to, you know what I mean? After you read a book, after you drink some water, you want to make sure that you wash your ass. Okay. All right. These is a 3-step process to success, not a 2, not a 1, not a half. Okay. You got to do the whole thing. Ain't no such thing as halfway crook. So make sure that you go and that you drink some water, you read a book, and that you wash your ass. Okay. Find your favorite soap. Are you thinking about the halfway crook thing? It's a rap lyric.
No, I got it.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Cool. I didn't know. Sorry. Step 3, wash your ass. Just wash it. That's it. Yeah.
That does it for this week's episode of Films in Black and White. We'll be back next week with another outstanding episode. But in the meantime and the between time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We'll catch y'all next week.
Don't say we ain't never did nothing for you. My.